Liftoff will start in T-minus 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have ignition.
It's time! 17 seconds from Game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan open. Chicago with the lead. Michael got a piece of it. It comes off. The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship.
Tying run at second, 2 out. Palmero over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws, out! And the White Sox have won the World Series.
To the far side around the 8-yard line to Hester. Under it and to the middle with the 15 to the 20, breaks free to the 25 to the 30 to the outside. 40, midfield, 40, 30 to the coast, 20, 15, Hester 5. Oh! Touchdown!
Toward Bryant. He will glove it in front of Rizzo. It's in time. And the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Shawn and Maya in the morning on this Hump Day edition. I'm your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra. Thanks for tuning in. If you're watching us on Facebook Live, well, then I guess you found us on Facebook. And if you're not following us on Facebook, what? Come on, go to Facebook, type in Sports Zone Chicago, click the like button, and now you're following Sports Zone Chicago. Simple. But wait, there's more. Go to the show's page, go to Shawn and Maya in the morning as well. Like that page, and you'll be following both pages in the as you do that. All right, if you're watching us on our YouTube channel, excellent. If you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, for real. All right, listen, go to YouTube, type in Sports Zone Chicago, click the subscribe button. All right, it's free 99, so you don't have to worry about it. It doesn't cost you anything, all right? And also, when you do, after you subscribe, click the little bell. That's the little notification button next to it. All right, the notification button, that's the bell. And that'll let you know anytime a show from Sports Zone Chicago is going live. You get it? You got it? Good. If you're watching us on our mobile app, Shishka Barbarino. Shishka Barbarino. If you're watching us on our mobile app, listen, do us a favor. First of all, don't tell me you didn't know we had a mobile app. All right? Don't even tell me. Don't even do it. All right? I like it if you're watching this on our mobile app. I appreciate it. But if you're not, here's what you do. All right? Wherever you get your apps from. It doesn't matter where you get your apps from. Go there. All right? Type in Sports Zone Chicago. Okay? Download it. Take it with you on the go. So not only do you get Shawn and Maya in the morning 3 days a week, not only do you get our other live shows throughout the week, not only are they archived there like they are on Facebook and YouTube, but I'll tell you what, we give you a slew, and I mean a slew of articles, thanks to my man Clarence Council III. Big up to Clarence for keeping you abreast of all articles Chicago sports related. Now, if you're watching this on a Roku channel, I like that kind of party, baby. Listen, what? Sports Zone Chicago, we have our own Roku channel. So if you have a Roku television in the house, do us a favor. All right, do me a favor, would you? Download Sports Zone Chicago's channel right to your television. Got it? All right, put it right there next to Netflix, HBO Max, or Max now. Yeah. Don't worry, we're gonna get into Hard Knocks. Ooh, that was exciting yesterday. That was exciting. There you go. Yeah, man, let me tell you something. It was awesome. So put us there, download it, put us on the big screen. Hell, we're on the big screen, right, Mickey now. That was funny. That was funny. Where are you at? All over the road this morning. Now, you can also tweet the show. You can tweet us at Sports Zone Shy, that's CHI, at Sports Zone Shy. Now, if you want to follow me, just me personally online. You want to know what I did? Well, let me tell you what I did. I mean, nice and easy for you folks. Nice and easy. One handle for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok. All one handle at the Shawn Sierra. Want to follow my lovely co-host Maya Kai? You can follow her on Facebook and Twitter at the Chica. On Instagram, she's at Maya_Kai, MAYA_AKAI. And we got a great show, but I need you to get interactive. We're getting started early at the bottom of the hour. So whatever platform you're watching us on, whether it's Facebook, whether it's YouTube, whether it's a mobile app, do me a favor, leave a question or comment on that platform. All right. It'll come up here in the thread. I'll put it up on the screen. We'll incorporate it into the show. And that, my peoples, is what makes this the best Chicago morning sports talk show around. And that's you. So you know what? Bring them all, baby. Questions, comments, smart ass remarks, because ain't nobody scared over here. And like The Rock said, baby, don't sing it. Just bring it. Let's see who we got in the chat today. My man Junior, Armando Emeterio, Lara. Junior, my man Junior's in the house. Good morning, Junior. What's up, Papa? How are you? Dope pics of Dito. I love them. Mr. Shode is in the house. Good morning, Shorty. I appreciate it. Bruha7 is in the house. Good morning, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I just watched that clip earlier. I reposted it on Facebook. So if you're friends with me on Facebook, it's I think it's the beginning of Eddie Murphy Raw, where he's a kid and he tells a joke and he kicked him in the ding ding. That's one of my favorite things. I'm telling you, that's classic. I love it. Michelle Walls, happy hump day, sports owners, and the losing streak is over. Yes, sir, Bob. Whew, man. Levette Lee, good morning, Mount. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Bear down in the Mickey Ficky house. Good morning, Papa. How are you? Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. That's funny, Bruja. Canadian Eagle is the greatest moment for the Bears fan, this Bears fan in Canada. Bear down. Hopefully he recovers fully and he can get back on a practice field. He looked upset. Yeah, that sucked. That sucked. Canadian Eagle was funny. James Ford in the house. That's what I'm talking about. Plank is in the house. Did I just say hello to you? I don't know. Anyway, you get two of them. Thank you, Plank. I appreciate it. I think I said hello, but Levette Lee, good morning, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate you tuning in. And listen, I don't know a lot about a lot, but I do know this. More of the usual suspects will chime in as the show goes on. I couldn't rub it in you about the White Sox. Oh, I know you're waiting for the Cubs to give them the worst record. Oh, I know you were, and I was just praying, like, come on, man, just don't let the Cubs give us, beat us for the longest streak in losing streak in Major League history. I was so thankful they won yesterday. I was happy. I can't even tell you how happy I was, man. Oh my goodness. Because I knew you, and Junior, I knew you would be dying. You'd be chopping at the bit. Oh, you, believe me, not only you, man, but you know how many other Cub fans that I know that would have been on me? Oh my goodness. That would have been out of control had the Sox continued to lose and the Cubs would have beat them for the to have the worst record or the longest losing streak, in the history of Major League Baseball. Thank goodness. I can't believe it's August. It's August last week. I get it, but man, that is crazy. Crazy. But man, we got a great show for you. As I said, we get started early at 9:30. My man Dedrian Colon. Oh, he is a good friend of mine. Man, me and Dedrian go way back. He's the host of the founder of City of Wrestling. So if you're a wrestling fan, make sure you follow this guy. He is awesome. He's a man. He is a media consultant. Many of us in the industry have gone to him for advice. He knows his stuff. Woo, Charlie. And we met at Illinois Center for Broadcasting. All right, which is now Illinois Media School. But back in the day when we were on State Street, that great street, I just want to say. And we talk sports all the time. And I was like, dude, you got to come on the show, bro. You got to come on the show. So Dedrian's going to come on at 9:30. We're going to talk a little Olympics, talk a little baseball. It's a big day. So it's a double dipper. Both teams won yesterday. No one cares about the Cubs. So as soon as I'm not even going to go there. Not even going to go there. But anyway, so Dedrian Cologne's on at 9:30. Then at 10 o'clock, my man Lauren Cox is going to join us. He is the host of the Locked On Bears podcast. Hard Knocks debuted last night on HBO Max, or it's Max, it's called, excuse me. We're going to talk about that with him. Also, we're going to talk about actual football. Some, the running back room is getting crowded. My guy Steve was like, you should talk about that. I'm like, you know what? I think I will, Steve-O. The running back room is getting crowded. We got Velus Jones in there. So my question is this. Are they going to use him as a running back or just a kick returner? Because he would be a phenomenal kick returner. All right. The way he's built. All right. We obviously know he's got speed, and we know that. But is that room too crowded? I don't know. We got to figure that out. So Lauren Cox is going to join us at 10 o'clock talking Bears football. But guys, let's get into it. Guys, you know how we do the first segment of every show. It's called Top of the Morning.
It won't come just when you want it. Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you.
Let's see. Where do we go? Which way do we go? Guys, you know where we're going. Yes, baby. Yes, the White Sox, the good guys, baby. The good guys win. Cue up CeCe Peniston, and finally, the White Sox beat the Oakland A's 5-1 to end their 21-game losing streak. The second longest in the majors, the longest in the AL. My good, let me tell you, Cannon was on fire. He was dealing. One of the things that we were talking about, who was I talking with yesterday? We were talking about this rotation it's a nice little rotation. You know what? Jonathan Cannon, we have some nice young arms, and I heard Big Frank talk about it on the post game yesterday. This rotation's nice. It's the bullpen that's been screwing us up. All right, so Jonathan Cannon yesterday, he got the win. He's 2-5 on the season, 6 innings, 6 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 5 punch-outs. Andrew Benintendi showed some pop. That's why we gave you the biggest contract in White Sox history. We need more of this, my friend. 2 of 4 with a double, his 13th of the season. Banged out his 10th homer of the season, driving in his 35th and 36th runs of the season. Andrew Vaughn was 1 for 4 with an RBI, his 51st on the year. Man, the White Sox, let me tell you. Can I tell you how fired up I am about these guys? The White Sox have been, they are going for a series win today. All right, the rubber match. All right, we're at the A's. First pitch is 2:37 Central Time. You can catch that game on NBC Sports Chicago or listen to it on their flagship station, AM 1000. Davis Martin's on a bump for the good guys. He's 0-1 with a 7.11 ERA going up against Joey Estes for the soon-to-be Sacramento and then Las Vegas A's, or if they change the name. Joey Estes is 5-4 with a 4.77 ERA. Can I just tell you how happy I am that the streak is over? Can I just tell you? I'm happy. Oh, goodness. What'd you do? Next top of the morning topic. Where'd you go? Here we go. The Cubs. All my Cub fans. The Cubs beat the Twinkies 7-3 yesterday in Monaga. He was on the bump for the Northsiders. He got the win. He's 9-2 on the season. He went 7 innings, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 free pass, and 10 punch-outs. Isaac Paredes, the newly acquired Cub all-star third baseman, he was 2 for 3 with a homer, hitting his first homer as a Cub. He was 2 for 3, his 17th homer of the season, driving in 4 RBIs yesterday. Whoo, Dansby Swanson was 3 for 4 with a triple, a tree bagger, not one of my 2, but 3 of them, tree bagger, a 3-bagger, a triple. He's second of the season, driving in his 36th run of the year. And the Cubs, they close out the series today with the Twinkies. First pitch is at 1:20. You can catch that game on the Marquee Network or listen to it on the flagship 670 AM. Joe Ryan is on a bump for the Twinkies. He's 7-7 with a 3.59 ERA, going up against Javier Assad on the bump for the Northsiders. He's 5-3 with a 3.19 ERA. Cubs better start making some moves. All right, we were talking shit yesterday. Me and a couple Cub. Where was I yesterday that I was talking all this? I was at Output. That's what it was. I was at Output. And we were just talking. And I said, truth be told, I said, you Cub fans are lucky. I said, we did you a favor. Because the Sox weren't in contention for the worst, and are still not still in contention for the worst record in baseball. But having that 21-game losing streak, all right, and in contention for the worst record in the history of a 162-game season, I said the Cubs will be a more embarrassing team in Chicago than the White Sox because of the high expectations, the high payroll, the snatching of the division-winning Milwaukee Brewers manager, and you're in last place. I was like, you guys are lucky. I said, you're embarrassing. Don't get me wrong. You're embarrassing. I said, but there's not enough spotlight on you because of what the White Sox are doing. So you're lucky. You're lucky. Anyway. Next time of the morning topic. The first episode of Hard Knocks aired last night. Ooh, we are going to talk a lot about that. We're going to mention some of my guy, Dedrian. He's going to come up in a little bit. But we're also going to talk to Lauren Cox about it. He's going to join us at the top of the hour. What did you like about it? What was, we had, who was it? Here we go. Someone trying to find it. Yeah. So Bruja was a big fan of it. The Canadian Eagle. That was funny. That was really, really, really funny. And then they show, I think you all saw, whether you have HBO Max or not, the reaction by the backup quarterback. Rookies, all right, so you can't legally haze, but what rookies do, because everyone's so sensitive now. All right. But rookies got to go up and they got to do something. They got to sing a song, show us your talents, that type of thing. And I guess most of these guys the rookies had to say, obviously, where they're from and then what their signing bonus was. Tyson Bagent was in the front row. And so when Caleb Williams was up in front of the team, and said a signing bonus was $25.5 million, Tyson Bagent just convulsed. He started convulsing, and I thought that was funny because he said his signing bonus was $25,000. His signing bonus was $25,000, and Caleb's was $25 million. That's crazy. Canadian Eagle was awesome. Bruja, that was classic. Caleb got booed off. It was great. And this is what people don't get to see on a normal basis unless you've experienced it. It's pretty cool. I had to do it when I went to Holy Cross. If you can't think of anything, what they'll ask you to do, they'll just ask you to sing your school's fight song, your high school fight song. All right. And whether or not, so it's fun. And what it does is it breaks down walls. All right. It breaks down walls and get you open, and yeah, guys will rib you and tease you a lot of bit, but it's all in good fun. You know what? It's that carrying the veteran shoulder pads. I used to have to. My freshman year, I had to carry Jerome Fuller. He was a year older than me, but he didn't start. Willie Bradford. He was injured the prior 2 years, and he was back on a medical red shirt. He was a fifth-year senior. And Joe Segretti had to carry all their pads back to the locker room after practice. They dump them off. They're all sweat and helmets, shoulder pads and helmets. Luckily, it wasn't just me. There were me, Craig, Darrell, Eric Sampson. There was one other. So there were four of us that had to do all this. And it was, but it's kind of a team bonding thing. Like, it's kind of a rite of passage, nothing crazy. And it was good to see that those guys were having a lot of fun with it. And the one thing that I can tell you that I see a lot of guys enjoying spending time with each other. There seems to be a good chemistry with this team. And I can tell you from experience, from playing on many championship teams and coaching championship teams, when teammates want to hang out with each other, okay, and they like doing a lot of things together, those are usually good teams because you understand how paramount your job is on the field. And you would do anything but let those other 10 young men, for me, it was coaching high schoolers, the 10 other players on that team on the field down and the guys on the sideline. There's a bond that you just don't want to violate by doing anything half-assed. So the more you hang out and the more you party together and hang out, and believe me, they're hanging out is a lot different than ours. When you're multimillionaires, you're hanging out at clubs and beaches and islands and all this other stuff. But you hanging out and growing and bonding together, that's a huge, huge deal. And I like this. And I'm not saying they're winning the Super Bowl this year. Don't get it twisted. What I'm saying is they have a really good core. All right, if this core sticks together, yeah, they're going to be in contention for Super Bowls in a couple of years. All right, you have a good quarterback. You have three phenomenal receivers. The Keenan Allen's already asked for a contract extension or for a contract extension talks. All right, which Brian Poles, said, hold on, pump the brakes, which I agree with. There's a lot of promise there, a lot of promise. So I really like the way that they vibe with each other. All right, if you've seen some of the clips, DJ Moore is just a fool. He's always messing with DeAndre Swift and Keenan Allen. These little things that you see, these guys are really, really, really enjoying playing football with their teammates. And let me tell you, it's not always like that. Not always like that. I think I was on one team that I really didn't like a lot of people. One. It wasn't two. But I know other players who've come over or guys that I've become friends with who said, yeah, they didn't like anybody. And the team didn't hang out together. They didn't party together. They didn't have a good time together. And you could tell. You could tell that it was strictly on the field, and that was it. There was no love, no care for each other. And it was clearly evident, and that's literally what stopped them. So that's what's going on with the Bears, and I really like that. And Hard Knocks is going to reveal that more and more as the weeks go on. But listen, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break, and on the other side of the break, we're going to welcome my guy, Dedrian Colon. I told you, he's the founder of City of Wrestling. All right. And I said, we met back at ICB, Illinois Center for Broadcasting, big sports guy. He loves sports. And he'll call me. Sometimes he'll just call me and go, did you see what they just did? I can't believe it. And we'll talk for like 10 minutes. Like, I can't believe it either. And boom. Good friend of mine, Dedrian Colon, is going to join me. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago.
Move it!
calling. Few will earn the title. United States Marine. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Hey, it's your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra, and be sure to follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms, on Facebook, Instagram, and our Roku channel. You can find us at Sports Zone Chicago, and on Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Shy. Also, be sure to download our mobile app so you can take Sports Zone Chicago with you on the go.
How do you take care of your mind health?
For my mental health, I meditate in the mornings.
I have my dogs. They're the best.
I just find ways that help me just relax.
Finding things that make me happy, like being close to my family.
I meditate a lot and read books.
I have hobbies outside of the game. I'm able to switch off. I'm able to turn my brain off from the game of basketball.
Your mind health matters.
Your mind health matters.
We are looking for a few heroes, mentors, trailblazers, innovators, a passion to change lives, spark curiosity, open hearts, and awaken minds, help students answer the question, who am I? This could be your calling, but this is no job. It's the journey of a lifetime. Be a hero. Be a teacher.
2 on with 1 out. Let's see if Lawrence Butler can open the scoring here.
Swing and a one-hopper to short. Picked by Lopez. Will step on the bag. Throw to first. Double play. 6-3 double play.
Playing against Benintendi. He grounded out to first.
Benintendi out to right field. Butler giving chase. Looking up. And it is out of here. Benintendi did not miss that one. And it's the White Sox getting on the board first. A 2-0 lead here in this fourth.
It's now 2-1. 3-1 is hit in the air out in the left center. Deep. Robert back. He's at the track. He leaps. He makes a catch.
Vaughn is 0 for 2.
Line shot, right center base hit. Vargas is going to come around third and score. Baldwin will head to third. It's an RBI single for.
Yeah. Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Those clips courtesy of NBC Sports Chicago. Those are the good guys yesterday, baby. Yay. I love it. The streak is over. Yes, baby, with a 5-1 win over the A's. I talked about it before. Man, it was, you talk about a sigh of relief because, man, I don't know if I ever would have been able to live it down if the Cubs had beaten the Sox and extended and given them the worst or the longest losing streak in the history of Major League Baseball. I mean, Cub fans are annoying to begin with. All right, they still talking about their 2016 World Series. Like, nobody's even on that team anymore. Relax. All right. So if they're annoying about that, you know how annoying they'd be about this. Thank God they can't do it. As the crosstown is this weekend. Whew. Those damn Cub fans. Anyway, my next guest is a good friend of mine and a guy I wanted to talk to. You know, I got a lot of people that I like talking sports with, and he's one of them. We met back at Illinois Center for Broadcasting 10 years ago. 10 years, D. Are you freaking kidding me? Unbelievable. And we've always stayed in touch. He's a media consultant. A lot of people in the industry have gone to him for, hey, how do we do this? How do I get more views? How do I get more followers? How do I do this? And he's a man, 50 grand. So that's something you want to do. And you may want to check him out, look him up on Twitter, reach out to him. He's definitely the guy to help grow your brand. He's also the founder of City of Wrestling. If you're a wrestling fan, man, you definitely want to check out that podcast. You can find him on Twitter at Dedrian_180. Guys, let's welcome back to Shawn and Maya, Dedrian Colon. Dedrian, D, what's up, Papa? How are you? Good morning.
Man, I feel like I got hit with a bunch of quarters, nickels, and dimes. It's been a long morning for me, but man, I'm doing good, man. Doing good.
Would you get jumped up there on the north side? What's up? Someone had a little plastic bag and beating you with it or what?
I actually watched the Hard Knocks episode before I went to sleep. I had to get up early to run some errands and everything. So I watched and I'm like, man, it's the first episode. I need to see episode 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 to really come to a conclusion and everything. But man, other than that, man, I'm doing good, man. Watching the Olympics, baseball, of course, what's happening in training camp and football, of course, wrestling. That's what I live stream for like 10, 14 hours a week. But other than that, man, I'm doing real good, man. No complaints, man. Yes, it's been 10 years.
Since we met. That's a long time. It's gone so fast, dude. Holy sheesh. Holy sheesh. I want to say something. Monica, good morning, mommy. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Yeah, dude, it's been crazy, watching these Olympics has been really, 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 really fun. Really, really, really fun. You're getting some of the, from first of all, the men's basketball team. We're like, all right, are you going to blow people out? No, they're not going to blow people out. Too many other countries have really caught up. The gap is narrowed. All right, you got so many foreign players playing in Joker. They're going to be playing Joker and in Serbia, and he's a back-to-back MVP. So it's not like you're going up against busters like they did in '92. But give me your thoughts on the U.S. men's basketball team to this point.
Oh man, I've caught a few of their games. Out of all the Olympics, like their games, it's like, like you get used to the NBA players in the Olympics, like, yeah, I want to see something else. But no, the games I've seen, I mean, what you describe is like a perfect description. Like the games are like kind of close in the beginning, and then towards the end, they did have that scare against South Sudan. It was like, yo, you guys keep messing around. Like one of these teams is gonna knock you off. I know Sportico, they released a stat that I think there's over, mind you, I'm just paraphrasing, but I think there's somewhere between 200 NBA players that are in the Olympics, which is a contrast from '92, which was like, I think, outside of the dream team,
5 or 6,
like 3 or 4, like
yeah, it was some crazy.
Yeah,
it was single
like
digits. It was definitely single digits back in '92.
Yeah. So I mean, you're gonna see that disparity in amongst basketball and everything, but I just from a basketball standpoint, it's like you kind of know what's gonna happen. Like, okay, this guy's gonna click, this guy's gonna click, and everything's like, okay, cool. I'm just really interested to see how they're gonna perform since they made it to the semifinals, because now you're gonna get like the grit, and it's like, okay, Serbia gonna respond.
Yeah, he said you're playing the Joker in Serbia, so he's no punk.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it was that game that they got blown out and everything. So it's like, hey, is Serbia gonna come back? Like, hey, we're just gonna feed Joker and see if you guys can stop him and everything. So I mean, anything can happen in these Olympics. I know some people may not think it's like, nah, USA got this. Like, no, there's been a few games that Team USA started off slow, and because the talent gap is such disparity between the other team, they were able to like push through and push that lead to double digits. But if they mess around and start off slow in these semifinals, you might be looking at a silver or bronze medal. It's like you can't take these teams lightly.
You really can't. All right, and we just talked about it. The Joker, you're playing a Joker, Nikola Jokic, and as I mentioned, he's a back-to-back MVP of the NBA. So this guy, he's got a squad around him. We talked about the NBA's development of European players. And the Euro step to talk about. The one thing that I'm concerned with, and this is a thing that, and let me know your thoughts. Everybody's always so worried when you get a team like this. Everyone's always so, we got to get the best talent. Like for me, I'm not so worried about the best talent. I'd say maybe if there's 12 guys on a team, I say I'd need 9, the top 9 most talented players. And then give me role players. Give me one guy who does nothing, doesn't even think about coming inside the 3-point line, like the Klay Thompson back in his day. All right, not current Klay, but Klay Thompson. Like Klay he's just sitting there. Let me know when you need me to, I'm over here.
Yeah.
I'll take 3 dribbles and hit 20 points. You know what I mean? That type of stuff. Give me a rebounder. You know what I mean? And give me one great defender. I think there needs to be a lot more team, and that's the reason. Because I don't know, D. Do you think these guys are really all in on the team aspect? A lot. They're not worried about put the pride aside, check it at the door, check the egos at the door, because there's a lot of egos. You think that Steve Kerr been able to get them to do that and win, or do you think there needs to be a little more of selfless play?
Man, you know what? I'm glad you brought this up. This is one of my favorite conversations when it comes to the basketball team, because I always go back to the 92 Dream Team, Dream Team 2, and Dream Team 3 in 96. And I think what it all starts with what's the common goal? Like 92, you had, I know people like, oh, they were plumbers and everything. No, you had a 29-year-old Michael Jordan on that team. And you had Barkley, Pippen, all those guys in their late 20s.
Yep.
So they were like there. But the common goal was, man, we're playing with Magic and Bird. Like, okay, man, let's get them their gold medal. So it was a common, like there was a goal that everybody could rally around and, go after and everything. Dream Team 2 was the same thing. Yo, they dominated. Let's continue it. Let's continue the dominance. 96, let's continue to dominate. I think it was 2000, 2004 where they got the silver or bronze or something like that.
Lost in the finals, yeah. I don't remember.
Yeah, so I think with this team, and it's been like this for a while. I think going back to when they lost in the 2004, like Team USA hasn't had that common goal. I think, well, you could say the Redeem Team with Kobe. That's the last team, but like a common goal, like, yo, we're gonna show we're the best. Not only the country, but we are the best. The guys here, we're the best. We're gonna show them we're the best. And I don't think you kind of get glimpses of that with this team, but it seems like how do I put it? It almost seems like they have this all-star game mindset.
Mentality, yeah. Like,
oh, I'm playing with my boys, and it ain't like, when, I was watching a clip of the 94 men's basketball team that played in FIBA. You had Shaq and Alonzo Mourning down low. You had a young Shaq and Alonzo Mourning, and them boys had no mercy on anybody coming to the lane. And I'm like, ooh. And it was, I forgot who was I think it was, who was the coach at that time? But like, he's like, you know what? Screw it. We've never seen Shaq and Mourning play at the same time. Here,
do it.
Like, it's one of those things. It's like, go ahead, stop us. That mentality, that dog mentality that a lot of people have been saying, And then in 96, you had, I think one time they had David Robinson, Shaq, and Olajuwon on the floor. Like, how the hell are you going to go to the rim with those three? Like, what? And then you had, I know they switched the lineup. You had Grant Hill, Pippen, and Penny Hardaway at that time. So it's like, but they had that dog mentality, like, no, we're going to show that we're the best. We're the best. We're the standard. And I just don't see that with them. I mean, you get glimpses of it with certain players. I think that's what Team USA basketball is missing, that common goal. Like, yo, we're dogs. You're going to find out why we are the best. Not so much the country, but the players. We're the best. We're the standard. You have to come to our level. And I don't know. It's just because I mean, let's face it. If you put,
but that's the athlete this year, though, D.
Yeah,
that's the modern athlete. They're like, hey, hey, Pi, what's going on? How you doing? Like remember, like Michael and them, they weren't trying to shake. I mean, they shake your hands as a show of sportsmanship, but they weren't trying to party with you. As everyone else is like, oh, let's take a picture with you. You're Michael. He's like, yeah, cool, but I'm about to drop 50 on you, just so you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, that type of thing, and everything is like, no. Nowadays, like, are you okay? Everything good? I didn't run into you too hard. I didn't mean that. Did you the charge you took? Are you okay? Is your chest okay? Do you want me to rub Vaseline? Like, dude, get out of here! Like, this is sports.
Yeah,
you win.
Like in '92, you had Jordan and Pippen when they played against Croatia.
Oh,
like, so that's Kukoc. That's who Kraus wants. And everybody on the team says it. Those dudes were guarding him from the bench. That's the mentality like you need to have when you're playing against the world's best. And I think with Team USA basketball, I think what it is a lot of the things that the average NBA fan doesn't like about the NBA has crept into Team USA basketball, where it's just like, okay, if you're buddy with everybody, you're losing that edge because you're not playing against the best. You're playing with the best. You're not playing against the best. It's kind of like playing, chess. When you have those chess tournaments, and instead of playing the best on an opposing team, he's on your team. So you're not really challenging yourself to really be like, oh, this guy took me here. No, I'm gonna, that competitive aspect. So I think that's where it's slacking, because I mean that South Sudan game, if the ref calls a foul at the end, they lose.
Yeah, it was
like people don't realize that. Like if the ref calls a foul, they lose. So it's it's that dog mentality. Like, oh yeah, we're just like, no, you need to put your foot on their throat and don't release until the clock is 0. Then it's like, oh, have a nice day, keep it going.
Yeah, and especially with the new rules, like the 3-point shot wasn't as paramount back then as it is now. Like the thing that bugs me is like your job. You talked about it. Your job is to show everyone, not that we're better, is to show that you don't even belong in the same stratosphere as us. Like we're here to embarrass you. Like 40 points is the minimum. That's the floor. And I get it that other teams have gotten better. Believe me, I get it, but they are nowhere near talent-wise, man for man, and player for player, nowhere near it. And if the selflessness of this team was greater, in my opinion, they would. I think they'd be great. They would be 30 plus, 40 plus blowouts, and it wouldn't even be close. I just don't think that I just don't think that they've all committed. I still think a lot of ego and pride is involved, and to me that's frustrating. But let's go move off of the men's hoops. The track and field, man, that Noah Lyle, the sprinters, and I love sprinting because I was a track coach for a long time. It's being a defensive coordinator, and along with strength and conditioning coach. I was with these kids all the time. Like, first of all, they're inner city kids. Like, you need to get your ass out of your neighborhood, so you stay at school until your parents pick you up. And I'd have them, and the track was so important to me in the development of these young men, and I just love watching it. And dude, the Noah Lyles 100-meter dash was crazy. Let's check it out.
There's an Olympic gold medal waiting for somebody who wants it the most. Now Thompson starts to wind up. Curley's going with him. This is close. Jamaica's going to do it. Shane Thompson is a gold medalist on debut. We thought it was going to take 9.7 to win. Guess what he just ran? 9.78. He pushed him all the way. Noah Lyles is looking anxiously. It's Noah Lyles! And it had to go to a photo finish to decide it. Let's look again at how close this was on the line. It's the torso that gets you the win. And right there you can see a little bit of daylight between Shane Thompson of Jamaica's torso and the line.
Literally a photo finish. Like, what was 3/100ths of a second? I think it said it's about the time that it's faster. The time was shorter than it takes you to blink. Yeah. That was the difference. Like, it was like, blink. That's fast. Like, yeah, that's how fast.
Man. That's what I got.
Those clips courtesy of those Olympic clips, courtesy of NBC. But yeah, dude, insane.
Yeah, it's this Olympics. I know with the track and field, the gymnastics. One of my favorite Olympic sports that I love watching is the water polo. Like, that's men's and women's. Like, it's just the way they the physical strength it takes to do these Olympic events. I don't think people understand the context of it. Like with the sprinters that you just showed. Like, as you're showing the clips, I'm looking at dude's shoulders. I guess we talk about this all the time, like just working out and everything. Like, I'm looking at their calf muscles, their thighs. I'm like, bro, these dudes are beasts. Like, you do not run that fast. And, most people think, I just run. And, like, nah, man, there's a nutrition aspect to it, training. And I forgot, I think it was Sports Illustrated that showed, a high definition clip, like a photo of it, of how close it was. And I'm like, yo, this is, I think that's like the first time that something like that has happened in a long time. I think I could be wrong, but that, man, I'm like, man, it's like, hey, can you do this again? Like, hey, we'll pay you. Hey, run this again. Like, we need to do something like that, because, man, it was, not only impressive athletically, but just entertaining. Like, yo, this is crazy.
When I first started coaching track, that was back in like 97. And then I had my first, so I had one of the guys I had at Flower High School, Gerard Moore, young man, doing really well for himself. And I'm so happy. Inner city kid. I love it. West Side kid. Love it. We were at Proviso West indoor tournament. And there goes the warden off to CrossFit, if you heard her. So they're in the 60. And he went up against some guy named Kelvin Hayden. Yeah. From Hubbard. Went on to the University of Illinois, intercepted Rex Grossman, all right, in the Super Bowl. That Kelvin Hayden, who dated Taraji P. Henson. Yeah, that Kelvin Hayden. Now, Gerard Moore was fast. He was winning. He was winning a lot of indoors, 60. I mean, he was beating him by, I don't know, 6-8 meters. All right, my guy was fast. I don't know if he got shell-shocked or if Kelvin was just that God-blessed fast. Kelvin beat him by easily 8 to 10 meters in a 60. In a 60.
Damn.
I was like, whoa, this dude is unbelievably fast, because my dude's fast. But
yeah.
And then I was coaching at Curie. My first year at Curie, and I was coaching the sprinters. And they had this kid. They called him Booby. They nicknamed him Rashad. They nicknamed him from Friday Night Lights. And I had never felt this type of emotion before. It was a 4x1, and he came. We were trailing. We were in like second to last place. We were like 5. I think there were 5. I don't think there was 8 people. It was 5. We were second to last, so we were 4th. Got the baton, and this kid. It might have been a 200. It was a 4x2. He comes around this curve, dude. He comes around, and all of a sudden, I didn't even realize. I was like, oh, whoa. I started standing up because he starts reeling people in, and it got you. And if there was literally 10 more meters, he would have caught the dude. It was like boom, boom, right after the winner, but distinctly. But you could tell there was 10 more meters, he was gone. And I was like, holy cow. So that was where my affinity really, really, really,
wow.
I loved it. And so that's why, and then going back, I'm an old fart. So, back to Carl Lewis in 84. He won like 75 medals in LA. And I watched those, and, it was awesome to me. And that's why to me, like the sprinters, whew. And then when you win the 100 meters and you have the title of the fastest man in the world, dude, how cool is that, bro?
That's cool. And you keep that title for what, 4 years, depending on what they do in like the trials and stuff like that. Like, you keep it till the next Olympics. If it's a record that's like, man, it's gonna be hard for somebody to break it. But yeah, track and field, that's one of my favorites too. Even the men's and the women's, because it's just like me. They wanted me to run in high school. I was like, eh. And now I look back, I was like, damn, I should have ran back in high school. I probably would have been one of the fastest ones. I was like, damn, I should have done that. But man,
me too. I didn't run track in high school, and I should have.
Yeah,
hey, Jay Grizz, St. Rita, you're talking about Tony Simmons. I think you're talking about Tony Simmons. He ended up going to Wisconsin, and he was on the track team there at Wisconsin. Excuse me. But switching gears, man, I know the Olympics are awesome. Real quick, let's talk about these baseball teams, bro. This last night, I was so happy. You have no idea how happy I was, because if we would have gone into the weekend, because we got the crosstown this weekend on the south side, and we would have broken if we continued to lose and the Cubs beat us. We would have broken the record for the longest losing streak in the history of Major League Baseball, and to lose it and to get that dubious distinction at the hands of the Cubs. I'm still sick of 2016, bro. Okay, that's 8 years ago. No one's on a damn team except the professor, and he sucks now. You realize how long I would have had to live that down?
I have a comeback for when I come across people that start bragging about 2016, and I'll tell them, well, ever since 2016, when you guys won, the country's gone to crap.
I tease him. I just say, hey, you guys sound like that last person in your friends group that turned 21.
Oh my God, man.
Who has a December birthday, and he goes to a club like it's like February of the next year after he turns 21, and he comes, he's like, dude, have you been to this bar? Have you been to this club? Have you been to this one? Like, yeah, bro, we did that. We did it last year.
You know what? That 2016 team should have won at least one more World Series ring.
I thought so.
At least one more.
Yeah, me too. I was hoping. I really thought they had the talent. Though they did have the talent. But I was like, man, I was like, if they win two, if this group wins two, man, and the Cubs got 2-1 on us in our lifetime. I just didn't want to hear any more. I didn't want to hear any shit from Cub fans, dude. That's all. It's that. I got a buddy. I got a buddy in from out of town. A guy I went to grammar school with, and he lives out in San Francisco. So he came in over the weekend. He went to the Cubs game the last 2 days. So 2 days ago, he texted me. He's like, oh, I'm at the Cubs game. I was like, we're going to get together. He's like, but I'm at the Cubs game. I'm like, yeah, bro, I'm still in Orland. I'm not going all the way up there. I was like, go Twins. And then when they won, the Cubs won. He's like, ha ha. I was like, damn it. Then they won again last night. I was like, dude, you cannot go to any more God blessed Cub games.
Oh, man.
Like, every time you go, they win. It's like, you can't go to any more Cub games.
That's funny. Yeah, man. It's something about Chicago sports teams right now. I mean, there's optimism with the Bears, but that's with pause. But yeah, these two baseball teams, man, like I use this response like, what portal did they open to begin the season? Because it's like, what is this? Like, it's just wild to see. I know on the Sox, Chris Getz mentioned in spring training, yeah, we're gonna compete this year. Should have clarified what you were competing for, because you didn't. Because they've been competing more for the worst stuff in baseball than actually the best stuff. That team, I'm not surprised. Just the makeup, the White Sox. You could say going back to since Ozzie left, they've still been looking for a culture and an identity that they do not have. And I unfortunately, I don't think they're gonna get it until Reinsdorf sells the team, because it trickles down. Watching this team, shout out to Ozzie Guillen and Frank Thomas on their post show. That is the most entertaining thing about this White Sox season. It's just them
Tell me about
breaking
it
down and everything. But just seeing the apathy just on the team and just the nonchalantness. And I like what Frank Thomas said on, I think, a couple last week. Like, why hasn't there been any fights on the team? Like, you got the work. Like, why aren't you upset? Like, this is embarrassing. Like, do you I don't get the the mentality in that clubhouse. Like, yo, like, my name's gonna be attached to this
forever
in baseball
history.
Yes. Like,
yes.
no. Like, hell no, I'm not. No. And it's just an apathy. And listening to Chris Getz, how he's talking, it's like, dude, like, you are way in over your head. Like, I don't know if you wanted to get Kenny and Rick Hahn out the way to show, hey, Reinsdorf, I can do this. Like, no, you need to go too, because you don't know what you're doing, and you were in charge of this horrible farm system.
Minor league system.
Oh, I can.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then it's stuck there after the and think about it. And then we just realized he can't fleece anybody like Rick Hahn did. At least Rick Hahn could fleece you and get back a shitload of talent. At least he could do that. Man, you didn't develop anybody in the minors. All right. You can't you can't snake people in trades. What good are you as a GM? What good are you?
Exactly. It's like, like I was having this conversation with my dad and we were talking. And it's like, why are the White Sox always looking to get someone else's prospects? What, if you're so money centric, Reinsdorf, it actually makes sense is to invest in your farm system so you don't have to trade and get other people's stuff.
Draft, and here's the key word. He's develop. Oh my God,
Yes.
crazy. Develop.
It's
That's
like-
the word. Develop. AD, I gotta let you go, Papa.
It's like, look at Boston.
Boston, LA, New York, Atlanta, Kansas City. Kansas City just doesn't keep their guys. You put together a team from Kansas City, put together a roster of all people that were drafted from the Kansas City Royals, and you will have a World Series team. We're talking Jermaine Dye, Brett Saberhagen, Jesus Christ, Carlos Beltran, dude, all these unbelievable, unreal. But AD, listen, I gotta run, Papa. I got another guest coming on. I appreciate the time as always, getting to shoot the shit, talking sports. But do me a favor, let everybody know where they can find you and your work online. Because we got a whole bunch of wrestling fans, and I think they would love your show if they're not following it already.
Yes, you can follow me. You can follow City of Wrestling on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Actually, check out my live reaction of AEW Dynamite tonight at 7 p.m. Central on the City of Wrestling YouTube channel. There'll be 2 hours of straight up wrestling talk and live reacting to AEW Dynamite and reacting to the latest breaking news in the world of professional wrestling. You can follow me there. It's always a good time talking about wrestling, and there's never a dull moment in the world of professional wrestling. But thank you so much, Shawn. This is always a pleasure jumping on and talking sports and everything. And I know it won't be the last time, man.
No, definitely not. I actually saw a little bit of SummerSlam. So my buddy had a housewarming party. He has a house. He got a house out in Carpentersville. And I'm like, damn. Luckily, my cousin had a birthday party in Elgin. And, dude, it was literally 25 minutes away. I'm like, oh, my God, perfect. So I got to go to both on Saturday. And, man, I got there. And as soon as I turned, he's a big wrestling fan. Huge wrestling fan. And I got there. Sure enough, SummerSlam's and I'm like, why am I not surprised? Why am I not surprised for my guy, Joe? Big shout out to Fat Joe on his new house in Carpentersville. It's gorgeous house. But AD, we'll be in touch soon, Papa. I appreciate the time as always, man. And
thank you, brother.
Love you, brother. We'll be talking soon. Guys, that's Dedrian Colon from City of Wrestling. We're gonna take a quick break, very quick break, because on the other side of the break, my guy Lauren Cox is going to join us, and we're going to talk a little Bears football, a little Hard Knocks last night. I had a little bit of an issue getting it started, but we got it in, thank God. And interesting. And I also want to talk actual Bears, not just Hard Knocks, actual Bears scenario. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Hey, it's your boy, the Superback, Shawn Sierra, and be sure to follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms, on Facebook, Instagram, and our Roku channel. You can find us at Sports Zone Chicago, and on Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Shy. Also, be sure to download our mobile app so you can take Sports Zone Chicago with you on the go.
Time out. How are you feeling right now? Happy? Excited? Angry? Overwhelmed? One of the best things you can do for your mind health is to name what you're feeling. It can sharpen your awareness and help you talk about your feelings with someone you trust. Here are 3 questions to ask yourself. Where are your thoughts right now? In the past, the present, the future? Do you notice any sensations in your body? Is your heart beating fast? Is there a flutter in your stomach? Or are you fully relaxed? What do you need right now? Time with others? Time to yourself? Remember, there's power in this awareness. So find ways to identify what you're feeling today.
Here's my theory on why NFL quarterbacks fail at such a dramatic rate. To me, expectations are a killer. This kid's got so much media, so much hype, so much expectation on doing well. And he has to develop so quickly to meet the expectations that everybody has for him, it's almost impossible. The expectations are a killer. But yet, to use your word, development is the key for him. You know, like Peyton Manning threw 28 interceptions when he was a rookie. It's the most in the history of all.
Manning looks to throw, tipped and intercepted.
It's unbelievable.
Put the nail on it.
But it didn't affect him. It's like the scoreboard. The scoreboard don't mean anything.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning at Sports Zone Chicago. Those clips courtesy of HBO Max. That was Hard Knocks from last night. Millions and millions across the country and around the world were watching it last night, especially as Bear fans are everywhere. And let me tell you, it was dope. It was good. One hell of a first episode, and there was a lot to talk about. And I think that was key. We played that because that was this whole Bears team revolves around number 18. Okay, let's keep it a buck. All right, you traded Justin Fields, who, and I'm not going to lie, I'm still a big fan of his. I still believe he would, I'm still a Justin Fields fan. Okay, but they traded him. They went in an opposite direction. Okay, well now we got to pivot and we got to ride with Caleb. And the sooner he develops, the sooner he becomes good. All right, the sooner this Bears team becomes good again. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The famous words of John Madden. He said the NFL is just better when the Chicago Bears are good. It just is. They just are. The NFL is, and as Bears fans, man, we love it. And I got a couple buddies who own bars, and man, believe me, it's very profitable when the Bears are good. It's very, very barren when the Bears are not good. If you own a bar, that's for darn sure. But my next guest is a good friend of the program. He's been rocking with us for years. He is the host of the Locked On Bears podcast. You can find him on Twitter at Cox Sports One, like Fox Sports One, but with a C. Guys, it's welcome back to Shawn Maya, our guy, Lauren Cox. Lauren, what's up, Papa? Good morning.
Hey, good morning. And I'll let you know, it's also more profitable for podcasts when the Bears win.
Yes.
Complaining.
That's for damn sure, because everyone wants to, you know what? There's an insatiable amount of feeling when it comes to good Bears talk. I think bad Bears talk, there's a huge amount that we want to talk about and bitch about, but everyone's like, all right, enough is enough. But when the Bears are good, and there's not enough. People will watch 15, 20 podcasts. They go, you're at work. I know, but I got to listen to this. It's on in the background. It's crazy when the Bears are good and how our fans are. Give me your thoughts. We'll start off with that. Give me your thoughts of the first episode of Hard Knocks last night on HBO Max.
Yeah, I mean, big picture, right? It was cool to get the NFL Films treatment, right? Liev Schreiber doing the narrating over it, like just like the opening scenes, right, with the sprinklers in the grass and like an empty Hallis Hall and an empty Soldier Field. Like there was something that was just like, it was like a movie, like it's that same kind of production where it's just like, wow, like it's really cool to get to see this Bears team behind the scenes in a lot of those ways. And I thought they did a good job of really honing in on the Caleb and Matt Eberflus stuff. I mean, the first thing that stood out to me was just like how specifically involved Matt Eberflus was with the quarterback, right? Like every time they showed Caleb Williams throwing at practice, it was Eberflus. You could see his eyes with the sunglasses on, like behind him, over his shoulder,
behind him,
watching those throws. And like Williams would come to the sideline, and it wasn't him going to Shane Waldron or the quarterback's coach, Kerry Joseph, but it was like Eberflus going, hey, what'd you see there? Like the really hands-on there, and in the back of the quarterback room as well during the meetings, like sitting in the back with his laptop, like not front and center, not leading the quarterback room, but like he is very hands-on with every aspect of Caleb. And then you played the Nick Saban clip, like he's looking for advice on quarterbacks. Like it's very clearly his number one focus there.
Yeah, and like I said, he's the key. All right, they built everything around him. They just extended DJ. He's got this core. All right, minus Keenan Allen, and that could be coming at the end of the season. We don't know, but he's got 6 years for DJ Moore. He got 5 years with Rome Odunze. Was it 4 more years with Cole Kmet? 3 or 4 years with DeAndre Swift. I mean, his talent is there. And that's the one thing that as Bear fans, we're excited. We should be excited about. If you're not, is this core, this group is going to be together. And that's the one thing, that we talked about the lack of continuity with this team for so long. And usually the core was there, but you'd have different coordinators. And that's important. But to have all the same players here locked in for a minimum of 4 years, man, talk about how awesome that is in Caleb's development.
Yeah, I mean, it's so critical to be able to go along that process, because like even what Nick Saban and Eberflus talked about a little bit later after the clip that you played, like development is what's so key there, and having that patience, right? Like the expectations are going to be huge, and you got to like see him through that and not get lost in that, because he needs to grow from year to year to year. So to be able to grow within that same structure, it really will put him in the best position to be or fulfill whatever potential he can in this team. I mean, and the key is really like having players that you trust that will still be good and be around over the next 3 or 4 years. Because, like in the past, the Bears have had young receivers or young running backs or young tight ends or young offensive linemen around Mitch Trubisky and Justin Fields, but like they didn't usually turn out to also not be very good receivers, right? Or like guys that you thought could be around for a while that just didn't end up being real bona fide studs. And maybe the quarterback has some influence on that, but like with guys like DJ Moore and Keenan Allen and DeAndre Swift, like we've seen how good they can be on other teams. So it's not like they're going to come here and be worse. Like, and their talent isn't going to be affected as much by what Caleb Williams can do, because we already know they're proven at their positions and what they do. So like that to me is so key. It's not just continuity, but it's like good continuity. Players that are sticking around, not just because they're under contract for a while, but because they're actually good and deserve to be under contract for a while.
Well, you kind of stole my next question, then or maybe veer off it, because I was going to talk about development of Caleb. But what does that say? I'll get back to that. But then what does that say about Ryan Poles? His ability to get good players, not just, all right, we'll get you off the scrap heap to fill a void. We'll get the second tier of free agents. He's brought in ballers. He's brought in guys who, as you said, we've seen. If we haven't seen it firsthand, they hurt us. Although DeAndre Swift did drop that in the end zone, which I still thank him for. But he brought him. We've seen these guys, and we've seen Keenan Allen from afar. Have 10,000 yards receiving, 6 Pro Bowls, 2 All-Pro. We've seen it. What does that say about Ryan Poles as a GM, filling these people with quality players?
Yeah, and I think it shows some of the maturation of Ryan Poles over time too. Like, he's not that he's certainly made mistakes over the years, but I think you've seen him learn from those in the players that he's bringing in now. I mean, you think back to, like Chase Claypool was supposed to be one of those receivers that was supposed to boost Justin Fields, but like that's the difference between like, Claypool could be one of those guys where if he had reached his potential, he could have been here for a long time because he's a young player and a young ascending player, but like obviously didn't take that step and wasn't that proven. And Poles was trying to bring in talent there, but it just wasn't the right player. So I think he kind of saw that and like, all right, listen, let's go get somebody in DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. Like these are legitimate, proven guys that are worth it to us to have to spend a lot more on, but it's certainly not in the trade, but in terms of the salary at least. But like that's that much more important for the quarterback. Like I think pretty well across the board, we've seen Ryan Poles be smart, but not perfect in so many of these moves he made. I mean, the big lingering one right now is Nate Davis on this offensive line is kind of the last stinker that we're really faced with in front of us at this moment. But like, other than that, across the board, it's been pretty darn solid there. And I think he's definitely has a higher batting average than a lot of GMs when it comes to big moves. And I think it's key to remember here, like the trades have been a really big part of this with Moore and Allen and Montez Sweat. Like it tends to be a safer venture generally than free agency, where usually players hit free agency for a reason. And the really good ones end up getting traded if they're going to change teams. They don't hit actual free agency because someone's willing to give up draft picks to be able to get them. And Ryan Poles sees that and is like, hey, wait a minute. I can get Keenan Allen for a 4th round pick.
4th round pick? 4th round pick? Like, are you like, you're serious about that? You said something that was very important, and it's the patience that we have to have for Caleb. All right, the patience. Is it more important for the fans to have patience, or is it more important for Caleb to have patience with himself? Because as a competitor, we've heard him say, hey, I don't like when I get things wrong. But guess what? You're a rookie quarterback in the NFL. You're going to get things wrong. And you're going to throw interceptions. And it might be a pick 6. It might cost you the game. And you know what I mean? It might be on national TV. But it doesn't matter. That's not where the story ends. How important, what's it more important? More important for the fans or for Caleb? Because I think Peyton Manning's career ended up pretty good after throwing 28 interceptions his rookie year. Call me crazy.
Yeah, for Caleb, it's interesting because I don't know that he's had to be patient that much in his football career, right? Like came into Oklahoma as a freshman. I mean, I think he started that year as the backup, but before the end of the year, he was the starter on that team. Like that's that feels like the last time he had to kind of be patient with football, because everywhere he's gone, and especially when he shows up to USC, right? Like then he's great right away, and he was great in high school. I mean, he was great pretty much right away at Oklahoma. Like, and in theory, I mean, he can be great right away in the NFL, but if he's not, like, he's got to be able to give himself some patience there and some relief, and just kind of say, yeah, this is harder than it's been before. But he's someone who's always exceeded everywhere in his life, and to be faced with that is going to be something that I'm really curious to watch. And that's where the Bears have to be, like, that's where the coaching in particular is going to be so critical, to not let him, get too caught up in mistakes, and not let the mistakes compile. And we haven't seen that at training camp so far, but I definitely think Hard Knocks did a good job of illustrating some of the, like, hey, like these are stacking up a little bit, and he's trying to figure it out, and the Bears are putting a lot on his plate. And I think they're doing a good job of, like, pushing him and testing him now with some of that stuff, because they can control how much they're putting on his plate. Whereas, like, in the regular season, there's no control over what defenses are putting on his plate and how much stuff is going to get thrown at him. So throw a lot at him now, see how much he can handle, and then you can kind of tune it down to adjust and have him get used to that. I think Eberflus used the phrase, like, build up the calluses a little bit on this phase of the offseason, and then he'll be a little bit more ready for a lot of different things being thrown at him in the regular season. When it actually does matter, it won't be the first time he's getting all this stuff.
Guys, we're joined by Lauren Cox. He is the host of the Locked On Bears podcast. We're talking Bears football here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Yeah, I think that's a great point. The ability to control how much you put on his plate, how much you throw at him, and you test him. You test them, and you realize that you do have a great defense, and you're very fortunate as a head coach. Like, cool, I have this phenomenal defense that I can go. So there's a lot I can do with this team. So with this young quarterback, because now when we get to the regular season, is he going to face? I mean, how many times is he going to face a defensive end like Montez Sweat? Probably a couple, but he's going to be comfortable with it. How many times are you going to face a cornerback like Jalen Johnson? Probably a couple, but he's going to be comfortable with it. So the seeing this top-notch defense and talent at every level, even the linebacker position between Edmonds and Edwards in the secondary, he's going to be comfortable with it, because you're not playing Utah State anymore. He's not playing those types of guys. He's playing against grown-ass men who are making millions and are good, really, really good at what it is they do. And when you practice against grown-ass men who are really, really good at what you do, it only helps when it goes further, when the regular season starts.
I don't know. I think the Carolina Panthers aren't that far from Utah State at this point, so we'll get one of those on schedule.
Oh my goodness! Talk to me about the running back position. All right, they DJ Moore, not DJ Moore. I'm sorry, Velus Jones was just working with that group the other day. Do you see him as a running back? Do you see him as maybe just a returner or just a gadget player? Is he out? Do you think he's out of the wide receiver? Or do you think he can? Do you think he actually could be a true Deebo Samuels type player? I mean, Deebo Samuels has done comes out of the backfield and slot, wide out. What do you think they're doing with I keep saying that. What do you think they're doing with Velus Jones Jr.?
Yeah, I'd like to see Velus catch a punt before we start to do the Deebo Samuel role. But, to me, this feels like trying to find ways to justify keeping him on the 53-man roster, because I do think they I mean, he's a third-round pick only 2 years ago, so they do want to keep trying to make this work and investing patience and development. We were just talking about patience and development for Caleb Williams. Like,
right,
certainly hasn't had that same kind of pressure by any means, but like, all players deserve some level of patience and development, and especially a top 75 draft pick or whatever, third round pick. I don't remember exactly where in the third round he was, but like a top draft pick for this team. Like, sure, you'd like to see that investment through. So, okay, if you can get him some snaps in the backfield and make him have more of a role on offense there, then, I mean, because at wide receiver, he's at best your number 5. Like, you're just not really going to take the field much, fifth wide receiver in the offense. And I don't know that he's a guy that's going to be a contributor on the non-return game special teams. And typically you need your number 5 receiver to cover on kickoffs and punts. I think he's done a little bit of that, but I don't know that they're going to have him do a ton of that in the regular season, or if he's, even like good enough at it to crack the starting lineup, of the special teams coverage unit. So if you want to keep him as your return guy, then it'd be nice to find some role for him on offense. And if number 5 receiver is not really going to be a role for him on offense, if you could get even just a couple of Cordero Patterson carries in the backfield, not like, I mean, I think I think Cordero Patterson is actually listed as the starter on the Steelers depth chart right now, but I'm thinking like Bears era Cordero Patterson, where he got a few carries, but it wasn't like a true running back, but was kind of a gadget player and made a couple of nice runs. Like, I don't hate it, but I definitely wouldn't take one of the running backs jobs for, you know what I mean? Like, I'd rather keep Travis Homer as my number 4 running back than try and put Velus Jones in there, because Homer does more on special teams. So I don't know if they can piece together enough of an offensive role to say, all right, we'll keep him and still keep extra players around him. Like, it still feels like a lot it feels like the sunk cost fallacy, right? Where at some point you just kind of say this didn't work and sorry, we'll move on to the next thing.
Yeah, because it's basically between him and Travis Homer, because I don't think he's gonna, he's definitely not supplanting Swift. He's not, Khalil Herbert, Roschon Johnson. I'm still a little iffy on Roschon personally. I think he's got to stop trying to be a wrecking ball, except on third down. But on first and second down, bro, cut back, get in yards. You know what I mean? Like, stop trying to run people over. Save your body a little bit. He's just got to. He's young, dumb, and when that type of back, you want to show that you can run over everybody, and that's not always the best course of action, because you don't realize how much time you're cutting off on the back end of your career. So
what do you know about playing running back? I mean, come on, let the kid play.
I read about it. I watched a lot of TV. Come on, man. So I don't know what they're gonna do with Velus, because his speed is top notch. I mean, his speed is unbelievable. And to get him on the field, and I think you're right. I think they're just trying to find a way to keep him around, and because what if he gives us a couple key third down conversions? What if he gets us a couple key touchdowns, or you know what I mean, something like that? I hope for him. I like, he's never been a problem. He's never been, someone who's come out of pocket. So I really like the young man. I hope he, he's not even that young. I think he's like 32 now, right? No, I'm kidding. But I hope he can stick around for a couple seasons and really contribute to this team. Let's talk about the defensive side of the ball. Are you concerned that they really haven't addressed that other end opposite Montez Sweat? Or are you cool with DeMarcus Walker in the draft pick, Cooper or Booker? Why did I say Cooper?
It's one of those things where it's like, am I cool with Walker and Booker? I mean, I guess, but like, why not still add more? Like, you can never have too many pass rushers, and there are a couple of pass rushers still sitting out there. I mean, it doesn't have to be Yannick Ngakoue per se, but like, it does feel to me like, okay, like they're counting on Walker to be better and Gervon Dexter to be better. And, Jacob Martin's going to be in that rotation, Austin Booker to be a really good 5th round pick. Like, all these sort of like, not what ifs and not hypotheticals, but like a little bit of wishful thinking, right? It's like we talked about with the receivers earlier, like how in years past they were like counting on guys to kind of get better and they didn't, but now they've gone out and got guys who have proven it on offense. And like, okay, we know what DJ Moore and Keenan Allen and DeAndre Swift are. I'd like another one of those on defense where it's just like, okay, we know what this guy is. Let's just get someone that's going to be a more consistent weapon, rather than hoping and thinking and being optimistic that these other guys can improve and step up into bigger roles. But the odds of all three of them, or all the pass rushers all making a big step forward is pretty low, but a couple of them probably will. And can you get by with that? I think so. But it is worth noting that the DJ Moore contract extension created like $9 million in cap space for this year. So Ryan Poles just freed up more cap space for right now. And whether that's signing, I don't think it's going to be signing someone right away. I think he would have done it already, but like he's got some cap space in the back pocket in case of a potential trade, or if somebody, at the end of training camp becomes available. You never know. I think Ryan Poles is prepared to be able to still make some kind of splash between now and the trade deadline. And could that be another pass rusher? I mean, that would seem to me like the most logical space to spend it, if not the offensive line.
Well, staying in the trenches and going back to the offense, what about the offensive line? Nate Davis had a situation last year, which we understood, but then doesn't show up for voluntary mini camp. Was at camp for a while, but didn't practice, and he was, a little interesting. And then Tevin got hurt a little bit. All right, so and Darnell Wright is out. We don't know. What do you think about him signing another offensive lineman? Because I personally, am not happy with the fact that, 3 or 4 of the starting 5 offensive linemen are out, or 3, I should say, which is frustrating. And that really throws a monkey wrench in this whole program, because you're not putting Caleb out there unless you have at least 4/5 of your starting offensive line. Because what good is that? You're going to get that dude killed.
Yeah, the good news is like with walkthroughs today and yesterday, like Darnell Wright has at least been back, and I think Tevinjenkins is back as well. But Nate Davis is still kind of the odd man out there. So in theory, by Saturday, the O-line should be maybe healthy enough to play Caleb for a couple of series, but we'll see exactly what that looks like. But no, I think Ryan Poles has got to have a short list on hand, ready to pull the trigger just in case, because this Nate Davis thing is it's getting to be a little bit too much at this point. And he's got a long enough history of this now, not only on this team, but in the past in Tennessee. He's dealt with a lot of different injuries and stuff. And like even the injuries, like it's not 100% his fault. He's not trying to be injured. He's not trying to miss practice. He's not trying to miss games. Like maybe he could try better at recovery and stuff. I mean, I don't know what his routine is like, but I mean, he wants to, he's a professional football player. Like he'd like to be out there and play football. So I still feel some sympathy for him, but at this point, like you're not out there, like, sorry, we can't rely on you. And Matt Eberflus wasn't afraid to bench Cody Whitehair last season when he was a healthy scratch, and he was he had $13-14 million cap hit last year. Nate Davis is at like 11 or 12 this year. Like it wouldn't surprise me at all if they just said, you know what, Nate, sorry, you're gonna sit on the bench and maybe even end up trading him at some point. But like we just need to have somebody out there that we know is going to be out there consistently. And I think the fact that Ryan Poles hasn't gone out and signed a free agent yet has been a good sign for where they see the prognosis on these injuries, that like, okay, these are not 3-4 week injuries or multiple month injuries. I think if something like that popped up, then they would go out. There's a couple different starting caliber guards still out there. Mark Glowinski from the Giants is kind of the big one, but Phil Haynes from the Seahawks is still out there, who's got some instant familiarity. Like there's some names out there the Bears could go out and sign that won't be that expensive and could be plug and play starters, or at least in the competition at one of the guard spots. So I think that helps me feel a little bit more comfortable that, hey, they're going to ride this out for a little bit, but it's far from too late to still get help if they determine the injuries really call for it.
For some reason, give me your thoughts. Do you think that this offense, Caleb should have played week 1 or the first preseason game in a Hall of Fame game? That's the first part of the question. But secondly, how long do you think, or should he play this Saturday? And if you think he should, how long? How many snaps? How many quarters?
Yeah, I do think they should have. I mean, I would have liked to see him play in the Hall of Fame game, just because I think there's so much value in him having going through the entirety of the process. Like, yeah, they had him warm up, and I'm glad they did. Like, I want him to go through that each time, but like, just getting the play call in your headset, delivering it to your teammates. Like, we've heard throughout this process that like one of the biggest weaknesses or shortcomings or just areas that he's kind of struggled to adapt to the most is cadence at the line of scrimmage. It's getting the play calls in, getting the protections changed, like all the pre-snap stuff. And like that's all stuff you can absolutely practice in the Hall of Fame game. Even if he hands the ball off 6 times and you take him off, like he's at least still delivering all that stuff. Like I want him to do that as much as possible until it becomes completely second nature in a live game situation. So every rep you can get doing that is important. And I think there's a lot you can do as an offensive play caller, especially in the preseason, to just protect your quarterback. I mean, it could be 3-step drops, slants, screen pass, handoff, RPO, done. You know what I mean? Like just get him in the rhythm of doing stuff. I would have liked to see even just a drive of that in the Hall of Fame game, because he's a rookie quarterback doing it for the first time. So against the Bills, I'd like to see a couple of drives. I think it's smart that they're predicating it on the health of the offensive line, but if it seems like the offensive line is getting a little healthier, so fingers crossed, it should be able to go for a couple drives there. Like just keep getting his feet wet until he's bored with it. Like make it so that when week 1 against the Titans comes, it doesn't feel new at all. And it's just something he's been doing for 4 games already. And he's a seasoned pro at it.
That's funny, dude. You've been watching my show, because that's exactly what I said. My thoughts exactly, Lauren. All right. You could protect them. All right. 3-step drops, hitches, curls, slants. Those, as much as I hate those stupid ass wide receiver screens, throw the dumbass wide receiver screens. Okay, turn around and hand the ball off. There's so many different ways he could have played 2 or 3 snaps, 2 or 3 series, without his jersey, without his uniform getting dirty. So many different ways. But you talked about it, the going through the whole process of the night before. All right, what I got to eat the morning of. Meetings, all that stuff is valuable. And I said that you were blessed with this extra game, because this Hall of Fame game, you're blessed with extra time to practice beforehand. You're blessed with the fact that you had been installing with him prior to him even being drafted, because you knew you're going to draft him. Why not continue? And I said, reps are paramount at this point. Why not get him more? Why not get him more? You've been granted it. It just didn't make sense to me. But all right, to them, apparently they didn't want to. So they're going up against Buffalo. Your thoughts? Most likely going to be vanilla offenses, vanilla defenses. But what would you like to see? Would you like to see, DJ with a couple catches, or Keenan, or what would you like to? What is it that you'd like to see? Let me ask about Caleb. What would you like to see from Caleb first and foremost?
Yeah, to me, like it's a continuation of what we were just talking about, where it's like I just want to see smooth operation. Like I almost don't care.
Cue up Sade.
Yeah, like I almost don't care what happens after the ball leaves his hand. You know what I mean? Like, sure, I want it to be like a smart decision, but like I don't really care whether the ball is caught or how many yards it goes after the catch or anything. Like I just want to see like the play call, get in the line of scrimmage, no false starts, everything, no miscommunications where a blitzer comes in totally or a defensive lineman is unblocked or something. Like I just want to see it look like it's supposed to look up until the point the ball is snapped, and then everything else, like as long as he doesn't get hit, like I'm not worried about does he throw a big touchdown pass to Tyler Scott? Like it's the preseason, like the results of his throws really aren't that important to me. We're not gonna see.
He's not going to Canton on a preseason touchdown pass.
He could have literally gone into Canton on a preseason touchdown pass. To be the future Hall of Famer there, but yeah, no, it's not about a big play or anything like that. It's just keep him safe and run the operation like an NFL quarterback, and that's all I really need to see. Everything else, anything above and beyond that, is just gravy for me.
What about the defense? What do you want to see from them?
I want to see a pass rush that really gives you some confidence, right? Like we talk about vanilla offensive defense, like, yeah, from a coverage standpoint and from a passing concept standpoint, we're not going to see anything complicated. They're not going to disguise a bunch. Although we did see Eberflus blitz the nickel a handful of times against the Texans in the Hall of Fame game. So they're, they dabble in little stuff, but like there's not really much of like, there's no vanillaing pass pro and pass rush. Like it's one-on-one, my guy versus your guy. We're not going to not show your stuff, right? You're going to try and win your pass rush moves there. So like, I want to see something that gives me some confidence in these guys individually, right? Like, can Dominique Robinson do more than he didn't really do much at all in the Hall of Fame game? Can Gervon Dexter really put together some of these flashes that we've seen in years past? We keep hearing he looks great at practice physically and stuff, but it's different when it's full pads, full contact against a teammate or against an opponent that you haven't been working up against in practice every day. Like, show me the reason to really be confident in this defensive line. Show me the improvement from DeMarcus Walker. I want to see Austin Booker have another good game and make some big plays, maybe against the starting offensive line instead of some backups. Like, show us that this is a defensive line that can absolutely handle its stuff, because much like the quarterback, right? I'm not going to judge this secondary very much when they're not game planning. They're not disguising coverage. Like if Tyreek Stevenson gets beat for a touchdown against Keon Coleman or whoever, like, I'm not going to get upset about it. I'm not going to panic because they're going to be in some basic coverage and not really game planning for these receivers. So kind of like the other way, like what happens after the quarterback throws the ball on defense doesn't matter that much to me, but I want to see what the defensive line does before the quarterback throws the ball.
Understood. I think I could go along with just about everything you said. I want to see a lot of efficiency on offense, smooth. I want everything to go smooth, like you said. I want to see him in his passes get that ball out quick. It's been harped about how quick his release is. Okay, well, let's get a quick release. That's why I want. Give me that slant. Give me that hitch. Give me that, stupid wide receiver screen. Just let him get comfortable. I want to see that. I want to see this offensive line. All right, and I understand that to the familiarity you got to have to really be a good offensive line, but that doesn't mean that you can't maul your own guy. If there's a guy over you, like, I want to see somebody get mauled. I want to see this running game get going a little bit in the preseason, and people say just to open people's eyes, like, oh shit, like they get healthy. Like, they're doing a pretty decent job now with guys that aren't starters. What happens when their starters get in? That's one of the things I really want to see. I want to see this offensive line really start to move people, because I don't think I said Shane Waldron should win and make a point to win with Caleb this year. And maybe by the end of the year, after the first 10, 11 games, you can start winning because of him, but you need to win with him. And by that, man, get the ball to Keenan, get the ball to DJ, give the ball to Swift, give the ball to Khalil Herbert. Let them do all the heavy lifting until you're ready. So I want to see that. I want to see I want to see people moved off the ball from the offensive line. I want to see Gervon Dexter just 1 yard in the backfield. That's all I need for that dude to do. You live 1 yard in the backfield, you are going to be a force in this league, in this game, but also in this league this season. So those are my whole things. What would you like to see from Coach Eberflus now that he's comfortable? He doesn't have to worry about taking over play calling in the middle of the game, in the middle of the season. All the distractions are gone with the coaches that were fired. He's got the majority of the players back. He's got a new offense, but still, what would you like to see from him with his new? He looks like a Russian hitman now with his new little, his new facial hair. I like it, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, I really want to see like how Matt Eberflus divvies up his time. Like from Hard Knocks, we saw so much quarterback. Like and I know it's not literally spending all of his time with the quarterback, but like, is that really like his main primary focus? Like, is he a lot more hands off with the defense now, or is he a lot more hands on with the offense? Like, as much as like, football is football and coaches know coaches, but like, he's never been a quarterback guru, right? Like, I'm not trying to say he doesn't know anything about quarterbacking. I'm sure he's helpful in the quarterback room, but like, this is a career defensive coordinator, linebackers coach. Like, this is not a guy who has a lot of history, working on the intricacies of quarterbacking. And again, like he knows the sport. And I'm sure he knows the position, and it's not to be a criticism of him, but just like, I'm curious if that remains a big focus, or if this is just like a all hands on deck for the beginning of Caleb Williams, because it's like, we gotta squeeze every second we can, every rep that we can until the regular season, because he's brand new and we got to get this going as quickly as we can and accelerate this whole process. And then maybe once the regular season gets going, you're kind of in a groove where it's like, all right, like, you've taken the training wheels off a little bit and you've pushed the bike, and now, your young child is biking on his own, and now he can come back to being a little bit more, involved in the defense and maybe bigger picture stuff, because his role on this team is very much, CEO, leader, motivator guy. And I did think in Hard Knocks, like, we got to see a little bit more intensity from him when he was speaking in front of the team, when he was talking about, being one of 32, be the best in the league at your position, and run up the hills. Like, there was a fire there, like, that we don't normally see from him, in press conferences or even on the sideline. Like, he was stern and like sharp, and just like, he was like ready to get them going. And I was impressed. And I want to see like more of that leadership really kind of manifest over the course of the season.
Guys, we're joined by Lauren Cox. He is the host of the Lockdown Bears podcast, talking Bears football here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. So, how big of a role then is Eric Washington? All right, is that one of the reasons you think they got him? He has been a defensive coordinator before. First of all, he's a phenomenal defensive line coach. Phenomenal. Okay, just look at some of his past stops. Oliver in Buffalo. He's run a defense. That gives, how much leeway does that give Flus? You think Flus saying, "Hey, you got it you got it. You've done this. This is nothing new. When we watch this kid that we just, is going to be the next gold jacket winner, according to many people." All right. How important is that, him having Eric Washington there, not just as the great defensive line coach, but also as a former D coordinator who can really get the team ready, while Flus is maybe looking at the offense a little more initially?
Yeah, I was wondering if Eric Washington would require, even at least at first, a little bit more from Matt Eberflus, like kind of like Caleb Williams, where it's like, because Washington is brand new, and yes, he's been a defensive coordinator before, but like not this defense exactly. I mean, similar to, Lovie Smith and Brad Marinelli stuff, but like not Matt Eberflus's exact system from Indianapolis, where there's got to be a meshing of like, okay, here's how we do things and call things, and here's how you've done and called things, and Eric Washington's going to put his spin on some things, and his influence is going to be there, but then they're still going to do a lot of things the same way that Eberflus has. And I would think that would require, at least at the front end, a lot of time and investment from Eberflus overseeing some stuff on the defense, and kind of overseeing that sort of handoff, right? Of like, okay, my defense to your version of my defense. Let's kind of work this together. And then at some point you can let go and say, all right, you've been a defensive coordinator before. We know the defense together now. We've got this all settled in, and now it's all yours to take off and run with. And maybe we're already past that point, and Eberflus can turn around and hand it off and feel comfortable. But, I compare it to, I hate to even say his name, Alan Williams, the defensive coordinator, briefly last season, where like Williams was a Colts guy with Matt, throughout, and they were in Indy together for 3 or 4 years, and they come to Chicago, and it's like, okay, he's got his right-hand man who knows the defense, like the back of his hand for the last few years. Like, he could we thought he could kind of be hands-off away from the defense because it's all his own coaches who've all been running the same defense. So I thought he might need to be more hands-on at first with Eric Washington, and of course, he ended up needing to be hands-on last season with the defense for reasons we still don't really know the full extent of what actually happened there, but I hope we get answers on that someday. But much like Caleb, I think once they kind of get that locked in, then you can let go and say, all right, it's your defense now, run with it. And then, I'll keep kind of overlooking from the top.
I'm getting excited for Saturday. Give me your level of excitement. Caleb's first game, the receivers, the tight ends, the defense. What are you most looking to see this weekend? Is it just Caleb? Is it the defense? Like, what are you fired up to see on Saturday at noon? It's an early game.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, you can only get so fired up for a preseason game, right? Like, I was fired up for the Hall of Fame game because it was the first one, and like I'm excited to see the starters, right? But I'm not like, this is not a regular season game, fired up, dialed in pregame
Tennessee game.
Yeah, exactly. But I am excited to see some of the starters and really get a better sense of like, okay, just how good are these players? Especially this defense. Like, okay, how are they going to stack up against the Buffalo Bills offense with some starters? Like, they've been playing great at training camp practice against a brand new offense with a bunch of new players all trying to learn everything. Like, that's not to totally slight the offense, but like, the defense came in with an advantage and has enjoyed an advantage throughout practice. But like, the Bills will be a different story. And again, I'm not going to judge it necessarily on the scoreboard and the results, but can it just be kind of can you look like men amongst boys out there, right? Like the Bills offense, they lost Stephon Diggs. They got a bunch of other new, younger receivers, Chase Claypool included. Like, their wide receivers are still trying to prove themselves a little bit. And I think a lot of their pass catching weapons, like their offense as a whole, outside of Josh Allen, is trying to show the league that they can still be a really high powered offense with that quarterback. So like, okay, it's not going to be a elite test by any means, but like, if this defense is going to be a top 5 defense, dominate a little bit, right? That doesn't mean shut them out specifically, but like, show that your level of talent is a notch above the level of talent of this team that has some questions about the level of talent that they actually have. Like, this defense is supposed to have no questions about its level of talent. The offense that it's facing has some questions. And I'd like to be able to see that difference a little bit. It's not, again, not necessarily scoreboard, but just like a talent thing where it's like, oh, like Tyreek Stevenson just made a play on the ball that like that wide receiver was not expecting, or Tremaine Edmonds stepped in front of a pass or made a kind of a surprise, like run fit that the running back was not, something like that, where it's just like, oh, that's the difference in talent between a really good defense and a offense that's still trying to find its way.
I would like to see the defense come out with an attitude, with just a nasty, nasty, nasty attitude. Where from Jump Street, like, I know it's preseason, all right, but you're getting it today. You are getting it today. Like, I'm gonna shake your hand. We're gonna dap it up after the game. Talk about the summer we spent, the off season we spent in the Caribbean for a week. Me, you, and your family and everything. But you're getting this wood. You're getting this heat, and I want them to come in with I want to see it starting Saturday. I want to see that. When you step on, we've all watched great players. We've watched Peyton Manning. We've watched Tom Brady. We've watched Michael Jordan. We've watched Wayne Gretzky. We've watched, all great players, right? Ken Griffey Jr., you name it. When you see them, there's an aura about them. There's an attitude about them. They don't even say a word because we can't hear them. We're watching them on TV, but they're freaking great. Like, oh shit, that's a special player. I want that defense, when they step on the field, people are like, oh shit, they look a little something. Like, I don't know what it is, but man, I want that. And that's got to come from that confidence. And and that's what I want to see. This defense saying, listen, we're about to whoop your ass. And we know about to whoop your ass. Let's get it started. That type of attitude, cockiness, borderline, hell, cockiness. I want that because they're good. This is the third year in their system. All right. And there's literally no weak spot unless you want to go the opposite defensive end spot. They are stacked with young players at every level. And I want to see them understand that. I want to see them saying, you ain't getting shit on. There's a no-fly zone back here. This is a Chicago sack exchange up here. Okay, and that's their mentality is what I want to see. I want to see it played out, and I want to see him hit. The hits principles, I want to see those jokers. I want to see wide receivers not want to come across the middle. Running backs coming out, getting hit. Tight ends getting jammed. I just want to see that nastiness where you're better. You know when you play against your little brother and like you ain't getting shit and you know it. That's the type of attitude mentality that I want them to have. And the thing is, they are that good. If they start it on Saturday, wow, how I'm scared, but anxiously scared to see how good this defense could really be.
And that's coaching, right? That attitude stuff. You have the most talented players in the world, but it's Matt Eberflus and Eric Washington and their position coaches as well, like instilling that idea in them, that not only like the literal like go out there and hit, but like that confidence and almost that cockiness of like, hey, like you guys think you're great. You keep talking about yourselves as a top 5 defense, like go show it, go dominate, go set the tone. Like that is 100% the coaches being able to rile them up and get them that way. And that's one of the things I appreciate about Eric Washington too, is like when you hear him talk at press conferences, it's not the rah energy per se, but there's like a seriousness to him
in
of like
the way he said, yes,
it's business. It's like, yeah, we're going to go out there and we're going to play great. Whereas like with Alan Williams, like last year, it felt a little bit more like, ho hum, like we're going to have good fundamentals and stuff. And like he said the right thing, but it didn't have that like ass kicking, like confidence of like, I've carried kind of thing. Like you don't know the weapon I've got in my back pocket. And that's why I know I'm going to win this fight. That just like that kind of like really like present solidified confidence. That's just like, yeah, we're really good and we don't need to be loud about it. Like at this press conference right now, but we know, we just know.
You'll see. Don't worry. We know.
Yeah.
Hey, Lauren, great stuff, buddy. I appreciate it, man. As always, I love talking Bears football with you. And, you and I could go on talking for a while. But do me a favor before you go, let everyone know where they can find you and your work online.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me. It's always a good time. You can hear me 5 days a week on the Locked On Bears podcast on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. And you can follow me on Twitter at Cox Sports One. It's like Fox Sports One, but with a C.
Dude, great stuff, buddy. I appreciate it. We'll talk soon. Thanks.
Anytime.
All righty. Guys, that's Lauren Cox from the Locked On Bears podcast. Great stuff, man. We would have talked for another hour. But see, this is what I want. And here's where, and I put that, I keep putting that banner up. Okay. But and a lot of people say, stop with the Justin stuff. It's not about Justin. Okay. Coaching matters. Okay. Many of us have played the game. Okay. Many of us have played the game. Okay. And we've all had that coach. We've all had that coach that inspired us, motivated us to play balls to the wall, all out. Was able to extract the best of us for competition, for that game, for a season. Okay. We've all had those coaches that you just would, you'd literally run through a brick wall for. If you're a gunner on the kickoff team, back then you had to run through a brick wall. And that's what that's one of the reasons I really like Coach Washington. All right. You know me, how much, the era I grew up in, the way I played. All right. The tough son of a gun coaches that I played for. And unfortunately, I lost one, and I was at a wake for one on Monday, which is why I wasn't here. All right. He was a guy. This guy he used to roll his own cigarettes at practice. Like he was a bad dude. I don't mean bad, not bad meaning bad, but bad meaning good. Sorry, all my Run DMC guys know what I'm talking about. This was a man's man. And he challenged you. And we were kids. Mind you, I had him in 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. We were kids. Literally someone else's kids. And he challenged us. That's what I need from this coaching staff. That's what I need. That's what I want. I need them to challenge these young men or these men. Sweat. They had you rated 81st. You gonna take that? You got your little $100 million deal. Now you're gonna take that. Now life's good. Now you can chill. Now you want to chill. Jalen Johnson, you got snubbed. You should have been first team All-Pro. And you got your money. Now you want to chill? Gervon Dexter. And just go up and down the line. And remind them. Now's the time you want to chill. Gervon Dexter, no one thought we should have drafted you. Everyone talked about what a mistake it was. What a mistake you were. Because you ran a 2-gap. We had a penetration style defense and should not have drafted you. All these things. Like, you motivate people. Find the thing that eats at a player. Find it. And that's what great coaches do. You find it. You challenge them. Because this defense is, on paper, man, they're back up there. Now we can start comparing them if they do well to the Urlacher defense. We got studs at every level. Every level. I don't know if we have the Hall of Famer like an Urlacher, but it doesn't mean it can't be a great defense because you don't have a Hall of Famer on it. I need to see him taking the ball. I need to see him stripping the ball, going after the ball, creating turnovers a priority. And that starts in practice. I didn't see a lot of that in the Hall of Fame game. I didn't see people trying to punch the ball out. I need to see more of it. Because I'm going to hold this offense accountable. I'm going to be on this offense a lot more than this defense. This defense a lot more. I'm going to be on this defense a lot more than this offense. And I'm going to be on the offense. But this defense is arguably the best defense in the NFL. Arguably. So you got to act like it. You know, with the winning teams, when I was with the Chargers, and especially with the Thunder, when I was at Holy Cross, and I was at St. Rita, we walked on the field, we knew we were going to kick your ass. We knew it. And when that opening whistle from the opening kickoff, it commenced. And that's where I need this team to be. That's where I need these coaches to be. This is where I need, and Lauren talked about Matt Eberflus being a little more intense. Yeah, now's the time. Now's the time, because you need to hold people accountable. And you have to understand, when you start getting these big contracts and you're getting generational wealth, and your family, especially if you come from meager, humble beginnings, and you got that millions, it's human nature for you to relax and exhale. But as a coach, now you're like, no. Now's not when you exhale. Now is when you hit the gas. Now is when you go harder. As long as they can instill that in these guys, wow. Because this defense has the opportunity and the potential to be game altering, to be a very special defense, especially if you can get another guy, or if Austin Booker develops, or if you get another guy in the defensive end. If Coach Washington can develop this defensive line, Lord have mercy. If they take the steps that we're anticipating them taking, Lord have mercy. There will be games when the offense might not even have to score. Might not even have to score. You know, do you remember, speaking of the Hall of Fame, two Miami Hurricanes went in. And the 01 Miami Hurricane University of Miami team, okay? Jerry Payton was on that team. A slew of NFLers, future NFLers, and Hall of Famers were on that team. And it said, I was reading it, it was a stat. It said, if that University of Miami offense didn't score a single touchdown, the record would have been like 7-4. 7-4 without the offense scoring a touchdown. If the offense gave them 0 for all 11 games, because we only played 11 games back then. If the offense scored 0 points, that Miami Hurricane record would have been 7-4. Mind you, they put up a slew of touchdowns on the offensive side of the ball, but that's because that defense knew, that defense believed in itself. And for at least in this, I don't want to say the whole season, but at least the first 10 games or 10 weeks, that defense has to go in there with a chip on its shoulder, believing they are the best, and not just believing it, playing like it. Because if they do, if they're able to allow Caleb to develop, if they're able to allow Caleb to get that short game on automatic, if they're able to get that run game, allow that run game to get going, Lord have mercy, the last 8 games of the year. Lord have mercy. But that's where that defense has got to come in. And I'm anxious to see, not just those guys, I'm anxious to see the backup. Dominique Robinson, I want to see him. Give us some key snaps. Give us some key plays. Zach Pickens. You know, these guys, they're going to be in the rotation. Can you keep the pressure up? When I played with the Thunder, they had the level of expectation they had for their backups. And the backups knew it. There's a level that the starters would set. And you had to adhere to that level. You had to adhere to that level. So I'm excited. And this is where the coaching part comes in that we talked about. Coaching is so key. Coaching is so key to motivate guys. And we talk about, well, $10 million should motivate. Yeah, it should. It really should. Because I'd be motivated if I made that amount of money. But for those who need extra, for those who have decided to exhale because now they do have generational wealth, the kids don't have to live in the streets or fight in the streets or deal with poverty or worry where the next meal is coming from. Maybe they need a little more motivation. It's okay. It's human nature. But damn it, I'm expecting it from Coach Washington. To get that defensive line, him and Eberflus together, motivating that defense. Man, it's going to be a fun year. It's going to be a fun year. And it's really fun for me because, one, I played running back my entire life. Okay? In grammar school, I played linebacker, outside linebacker, because we had to play both ways. But I was still a running back. So I've been a running back my whole life. And then when I started coaching, I had to learn how to call a defense and coach defense. So I'm going to look at it from both sides of it. And I'm excited about that. When the offense is out there, okay, I'm going to see what's going on here. But when the defense is out there, that's why I get so passionate, because if you couldn't tell how much I love football, like my players knew I was passionate. Like there was never a question. You could ask any of my players. There was never a question of my passion for football, especially for defense, because I was hit all the time. I like to deliver. I like to run people over when a situation presented itself, usually against DBs. But the physicality of it, and this is what I want this Bears team to be, is physical. And all my former players will tell you, I instill physical, hit. An inferior team can beat the hell out of a superior team by being more physical. That can level the playing field. That can shut the talent gap if you are more physical. That's what I need this Bears team to understand. You're good. Your defense is good. Now let's be physical on top of our skill. That's a winning formula. Listen, first and foremost, I want to thank you guys. 2 hours have come and gone. I want to thank you guys, but I do want to say a quick shout out and a big shout out to my football coach. He passed away a few days ago. The wake and funeral was this weekend, and Monday was the funeral. And I just want to say rest in peace, Coach Schaller. One of my first coaches, him and Coach Quinn, coached me in 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Tough as they come, tough as nails. A lot of us didn't have father figures around, and those two men really, really did a number on stepping in and as football coaches and teaching and allowing us to be men and really, you understand that women may not understand, like it's a difficult process to have a boy develop into a man. It's a difficult one. It's not a pretty one. Okay. But it's necessary. And these guys laid the foundation with their unrelenting style. They're constantly holding us accountable to our teammates, making sure that we had work done. I mean, I shit you not. This is the 80s. We would go watch film. We would have film in Coach Quinn's basement a couple times a year. That's how they were so far advanced, And I just want to say thank you, Coach Schaller, for all the lessons you taught me, how to be tough growing up in the neighborhood that I did and situation I did. I had to be tough. And, a lot of kids would probably echo my sentiments. Is just thank you so much. So big shout out to Coach Schaller, rest in peace. We're going to miss you. I just want to thank you for all the great stuff that you taught me, because it's carried on, in my life. All right, guys, this show is going to be on. I'm going to replay this at 6, so it'll be on later tonight. I'm not sure about Friday. I think we're going to move the show back a little bit Friday. I have a meeting that I can't get out of. All right, but I'll let you guys know. It'll be up. All right. So for everyone here at Sports Zone Chicago, thank you, Jay Grizz. I appreciate it. King Booker World, I appreciate it. Man, I will see you guys on Friday. I may come to you tomorrow with a little video from somewhere I'm going to be at tomorrow. Thank you guys. Playing King Booker World, Jay Grizz, Shorty Jr. I appreciate it. But yeah, I should be somewhere tomorrow, and I'll be coming to you live from there. But until then, guys, have a phenomenal show. Phenomenal day. It's going to be beautiful out there. Summertime shy still full effect. Enjoy it. Tell your loved ones you love them. And one of the sad things is I was looking forward to seeing Coach Schaller at the St. Rita games this year, and that we would talk ever since Coach Quinn died a few years ago in COVID. I would always see him at the Rita games, and we'd just sit and talk because it's two football coaches, one player, one coach. And I always look forward to that. So I was obviously taken aback by the news. But anyway, guys, have a phenomenal day. All right. For everyone here at Sports Zone Chicago, I'm your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra. Have a great day, and I am out.